Oh, you know that the night time, ooh, is the right time to be with the one you love. Oh, yeah. Don't you know, baby? Night time to be with the one you love. You know who I'm thinking of. Night time is the time to be with the one you love. Oh yeah. Say now, baby, my mother died and my father, well, he broke down and cried. Ooh, baby. Yeah, when I come home, baby, I want to hold you in my arms. You know that the night of time, oh, is the time to be with the one you love. You know who I'm thinking of.
Hi, I'm DeMers, and this is video number 2 of a 5-part series on how to dance drag blues. Drag blues is a modern dance form of blues evolved from ballroomin' and slow drag, both vintage blues dances, danced to the swing rhythms found in blues and jazz music. While based on vintage traveling blues dances, drag blues has a more defined technique and incorporates swing moves and movements. This video is the most important video of the 5 because it teaches you the defining characteristics of drag blues and its walk. There will be only short segments of practicing along with me, so take notes for the rest of the video and practice these characteristics on your own. You can also find a drag blues checklist at joven.com, which incorporates all the technique we discuss in this video. If you missed video 1, an introduction to drag blues, make sure to watch it. After you master drag blues walking, videos 3, 4, and 5 will be on moves, connection, and drag blues as a fusion dance. So let's go. Let's learn some drag blues. And followers, I look forward to dancing with you. And leaders, I bet the followers are going to love dancing with you after you practice perfect drag blues technique. Come on, people. Let's learn drag blues and spread the love. In drag blues, probably the most defining characteristic is the walk. In this section, we're going to work on the walk and those characteristics. Please go to our website, joeandnell.com, if you'd like a checklist of these characteristics. So as you're practicing with this video, you can say, check, I have my lilt. Check, extending through the spine. Check, contra body movement. And so go to joeandnell.com for that checklist. It's just a tool to help you practice with your partner. And feel free again to share it with your scene. Spread the love, the drag blues love with the dancers you dance with. So defining that walk. The first thing about that walk is the lilt. The lilt here is a slight lean in the body. Now, you want to think about extending through the spine although we're leaning. So standing upright, having good posture, still having good posture as we're leaning. If you collapse your posture, you lose some of the aesthetic and some of that gracefulness that you see from the lines. And also you lose some of the connection. And so let's extend through our spine. Let's relax into our standing leg here. Okay, you shouldn't be losing your balance. You shouldn't be split weight. We're going to try and be here on that back foot. So when we walk forward, we maintain this lean. So maintaining the lean, maintaining the lean, maintaining the lean. When we walk backwards, it's the same, but you lean the opposite direction. So we're leaning forward. Maintain this lean. Maintain this lean. Again, think about an extension through the spine all the way down to the foot. Maintaining that lean, maintaining that lean. Now, when you change directions, you of course have to switch the lean. Many dancers, when they're first learning, they maintain the same lean, and so they'll walk forward leaning backwards, and then they'll walk backwards keeping the same lean. And so as you're walking, you want to think about walking and leaning. When you're switching directions, rotate at the hips, and then walk backwards. Okay? Rotate again and walk. Rotate again and walk. When it comes to the followers, and actually both dancers, the leader and the follower, some dancers enter this dance with their hips rotated back, and you'll find a lot of lower back pain after practicing drag blues this way. And so if you're extending through your spine and you're rotating your hips up, you'll feel a slight pinch in the back. Followers tend to feel it a little bit more than leaders, especially when we get into some of those dips. And so think about when you extend through the spine, rotating the hips underneath into neutral. So you have your hips back, you have neutral hips underneath you, and your hips forward. We want to dance this dance in neutral here. So try to extend through that line here. If your hips are rotating back, try and relax into it. Again, your standing leg is going to be extremely important in this dance. Rotating your hips and your weight into that standing leg. So that way you're not pinching your back, and it helps also to maintain balance. Now, when walking in either direction, you'll notice that we extend before we walk. The terms that we use in drag blues is similar to tango in this sense, and we call it a projection. And so we project in the way that we're about to go. And so in this projection, my weight is over my back foot. I'm not committing weight to that forward foot yet. I have the twist in my chest. I have the extension of my foot. This is our contra body movement. And then the second part of our step is the drive. And drive. And drive. And now when we switch directions, make sure you switch your lean. We're projecting and driving, projecting and driving, projecting and driving. Some tips for you is when we're projecting, I tend to lead out with my toe. Although I don't step, toe, then heel, I lead out with my toe so I know where my follower's foot is. And I also twist the heel slightly in versus out. It makes it a little bit more comfortable for me when I do my contra body movement. And as we step, we're floating across the floor. So we think about floating across the floor and then stepping heel toe. When we're going forward, again, we're projecting, we float, stepping heel toe. When we go backwards, we step toe heel. So we project and we push into that drive, we go toe heel, we project, push into it, toe heel. Now for the timing, I want us to think about and one, and two. The and is our projection. We're driving and stepping on one, we're driving and stepping on two. And so every time we project, I'll do it towards you, we go and, project, drive, 2, 1. And project, drive, 2. Going sideways here, a little bit faster, more continuous. We go and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, going backwards, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Again, notice that the contra body and the extension is there. This is not a progressive timing. We should try not to do and 1, and 2, and 3. If we make it more progressive like that, and 1, and 2, and 3, we lose the shape of our projection drive. And so instead of making progressive timing, let's try and have a really sharp and 1, and 2, and 3. And so that way, for all of our preps, and we're not committing weight, 1, and 2, and 1, and 2. Okay? So our projection is really fluid. And now, it doesn't matter the person, the leader or the follower, but both people are responsible for that timing, both people are responsible for that shape. Something else to talk about is our standing leg. As I mentioned earlier, our standing leg is going to be an important part of our balance, it's going to be an important part of our connection. It's where we get our power for our drive. So firstly, as a reminder, for that standing leg, you want to put your weight into it. You don't want to push your hips back. You want to push your hips back, let yourself sink into that standing leg. It's going to make it more comfortable as you extend through the body. And also, it's going to make it more comfortable for the body. And so when we use this standing leg for power and pushing through, it's going to happen on our drive. And so we have our projection, our and our standing leg here. We're going to push through for power. And we have our projection and push through for power. Go backwards, it's the same. Our projection, push through, our projection, push through. Now, if you step early and you have all that energy, you're going to end up dancing like this with the chest forward or the chest backward. Okay? And so think about floating across the floor before you take your step, right? That energy, we want it to dissipate in distance and not necessarily into our body posture. And so we're going to take that energy for distance and float across the floor, going backwards, float and float. And it gives that nice, again, graceful look that people are really attracted to in drag blues. And it doesn't just look good, it feels really nice too. And I want to reiterate the contra body movement. Remember I said it's like a swing in the body. We swing into it, right? It doesn't matter which direction we go, we're swinging into it. Our body is going chest and leg at the same time, chest and leg at the same time, chest and leg, chest and leg. And so as we swing into this, we don't necessarily want to think about extension of the arm. Again, it gives it a funny look. And so if I'm thinking about extending, it kind of adjusts the posture a little bit more. For me, it's not as relaxed. And also, imagine a follower. I'm the leader right now. Imagine a follower in front of me, right? It's going to give her a funky look, a funky step for both of us. And so we think about the twist of the chest and that the arms are gently relaxed into that twist, not extended through. And so again, as we're walking, contra body, we have that nice twist, And not to mention too, that the contra body is the lead for the projection. We twist the chest. A lot of people think about following the foot, right? Oh, the foot goes out, my foot goes out, the foot goes out, the follower matches. But that's not the initiation of the projection. Instead, we want to think about the contra body from up here in the chest as that initiation. So if I'm walking backwards, the chest starts to twist, the foot goes out, the foot goes out, the foot goes out, right? It needs to be instantaneous with the chest, right? We don't want to go like this, okay? Imagine dancing like that. You're going to get some funky walking going on, and I'm all about funky walking. but with good technique, of course. You know, you'll often encounter struggle with maintaining Contra body. We tend to switch to zombie mode when we start thinking about it. But you know, Contra bodies relax like we're walking. In the ballroom world, they call this, instead of zombie mode, they call it natural walking, where you're leading with the same shoulder and side of the body, leading. And we use that in drag blues too. We'll explore that movement in video 3, moves, and video 4, connection, because it's a really nice movement. But for our basic, remember this first video is about the basics. For our basic, we want to think more contra body, and not natural position of walking. Although we will get there in videos 3 and 4. Now let's talk a little bit more about balance. This tends to be an issue when you're first learning drag blues. Balancing requires your body to have good posture, to be relaxed, to maintain the contra body movement. And oftentimes we get together with a partner too early, and we start relying on our partner for balance of holding up our body and walking. And then when we rely on our partner, we add extra tone, we kind of lose that projection and drive, we lose the timing. And so I'm doing this section alone because you should be practicing this alone. You should be mastering your walking so that when you get with a partner, it's just a matching of directions, a matching of posture changes, sometimes tone, but we should be relaxed for our basics. We'll talk about tone in videos 3 and 4, connection and moves. And so more about balance. So the first thing is when we first learn to dance drag blues, especially with a partner, we tend to hold our arms still like this. And when we hold our arms still, it kind of stiffens up our body too. We're not as flexible to push through our step. But then it's not just our body, it stiffens up our partner's body. So if I'm following and I'm having to go forward like this and I can't move because my partner is holding his or her frame still, it makes it challenging to maintain balance. And so both people, remember, when you're walking together, contra body must change. It must change, switch the lean, right? It must change. And remember that if my foot goes all the way out, my contra body is all the way twisted. You don't want to do half twist and push, half twist and push. Again, you start to lose some balance there. With that posture changes there, remember that we try to have a faster change of contra body to keep up with the music and the timing of the dance. The timing is and 1, and 2, and soon enough it's and 1, and 2. But as we're first learning, I want to separate those because we must maintain balance on each aspect of our step. And so when we go and, foot is out, twist it all the way, 1, and, 2, and, switch it, and, 1, and, 2, and, 1, and 2. Practicing your contra body movement. Transitioning directions tends to be challenging, right? When you get here and you're twisted into this left and I have not committed weight and I just switch my lean, I have to switch the contra body. The contra body is turned into a leg that's forward. And so here my right leg is forward, here my left leg is forward. But say I just took a step of my left leg and then I switch directions, my contra body is going to stay. It's going to stay. So if I just stepped, I switch my lean, and it's going to stay. Okay? That's something you have to become aware of on your own, and you have to master it, right? You have to switch the lean, and you have to worry about the contra body. Also, another tip for balance, especially when it comes to timing, is that a lot of dancers, when they start going, they start going, right? And there's always this moment of go or drive. There's always this moment of drive. And you can see in my posture that I'm not maintaining that drag blues aesthetic. Part of it is this. It's an issue of balance. It's where do I hold my weight during my projection? Well, if I'm going forward, my weight is on the back of my foot. If it's on the forward part of my foot, that's going to start the drive. If it maintains forward, starts the drive. So when I'm projecting, I need to use my whole foot, right? The back and then the front, okay? So where I'm on the back part, I'm going to drive through the front part. I'm going to find my balance, again, more on the center, more on the back of the foot, not on the heels like this. Just centered back. And then when we drive, center forward of the foot, okay? When we're going backwards, it's the opposite, okay? So I maintain my weight more on the forward part of my foot. From that center line, a little bit forward is fine, just where you're not driving. But then when we drive, we push through that foot, and then when we recollect here, you gotta set your weight back into that line. So here it is again, a couple steps. I'm on the forward part of my foot, push through the back, maintain my projection on the forward part of the foot, push back, maintain my direction on the forward part of the foot, and push back. When we're switching leans, okay, now I'm on the back part of my foot. I'm gonna push forward, back part of my foot, push forward. So think about this and really practice it, especially when we start dancing with a partner. So for example, if a follower is kind of transferring weight early, then the leader is going to go with her or him. And so here, followers, if you're walking backwards and there's a leader in front of you here, and you want to maintain balance and you're not committing your weight, if you're already committing your weight and you start to push, there's nowhere to float the foot across the floor. And so we're here, he starts to drive through, float first, okay? And that's why we need to keep our weight centered forward here. Or the opposite happens and I take the leader with me. As a follower, I take the leader with me, going forward too. Say my leader is going backwards and I'm going forward. I could start pushing and driving the dance when the leader is not done projecting. And so followers, both people, be really good about your personal timing. Okay, maintaining your personal timing and going. Your personal timing and going. So these are your tips for balance. Now we're going to talk about the embrace. This is my lovely partner and wife, DeMers.
Hello.
And so let's first talk about the embrace, how to grab our partner, and what's comfortable and what we want to see, and some things that you might be doing that we don't want to see, and then some pointers to correct that. So the first thing is that we want the arm for the leaders to go around the back, okay, as far as possible. Now, if the leaders have a bigger belly,
Or maybe the followers do.
we're going to be slightly offset, okay? She's going to be slightly to my right side instead of straight on. And so to the right side is fine. Followers.
For the follower's left arm, we want that to be wrapped around the leader's arm, and depending on your comfort level and body size, it might be closer to you, it might be wrapped around a little bit further. What we want to avoid is having it on top or having it in front. So wrapped around the back.
For the hand connection, a lot of dancers, when they start thinking about drag blues, the hand becomes open. We want to close that nice and softly. If one person has it open, remind your partner to close his or her hand, and so close the hand, okay? In terms of the height for the arm, we want to do the shoulder height of the follower. And so if I'm a taller leader, I don't want my arm up here as I dance drag blues, okay? If I'm a taller leader, I'm going to have my arm down here at my follower's shoulder height, so it's more comfortable for her. Or, if I'm a shorter leader, it's going to be up here at my follower's shoulder height to dance drag blues. Now, in terms of how close in and out, that is a personal preference. We like to say, put the hand where you would do a push-up. And so if we're going to do a push-up right here, this is where we're going to connect and then relax the arms at that position there. More about the embrace is our posture. Leaders, remember to have good posture. Remember that we don't want our hips back, because if we're embracing and then we start drag blues like this, we get a funky look and a funky feeling.
Same thing for the follows. We want the hips to be in a neutral position, which means we tuck them underneath our bodies. We don't want them sticking back and we don't want them rolled forward. So relax them straight down into your legs.
And when we extend the leg here, it's the same thing. We don't want to pull back the butt, pull back the hips.
We want to extend from through our spine all the way down into our legs. So we're really thinking about elongating our bodies while staying relaxed, of course.
And then letting those hips settle underneath us in a neutral position.
So in this section, we are talking about followers' responsibility as well as some issues that we have seen with drag blues over the years. One of the key concepts we want to reinforce is that the followers are responsible for their own movement and their own energy, their own weight transfers, and committing to the connection as much as the leaders do. So one of the first issues that we have seen is that there is an increase in the compression in the connection between you and your partner. And this is usually because the followers aren't taking the correct size step. They're not driving into their steps. Here's an example of stepping too early. So the followers are taking where the leaders place their projection and then stepping their foot down directly over that spot. Whereas what we want to do is project and then drive into that weight transfer. So we get a little bit of extra space into that step.
So a good tip is during a projection, go ahead and look at where your foot is at. And then we want to go, 3 or 4 inches behind where your toe is at, and then you can roll onto your foot, transferring your weight. Just to reinforce the idea of timing, so you have the size of your step and then you have the timing. Do you step during the projection? Do you step during the drive? Remember, we're shooting for the drive as we discussed earlier. And so here we go. Here's me, too, as the leader. Here's me stepping during my projection, and stepping during my projection, and stepping during my projection. Well, the follower can do that too. Here's what that looks like. Right? And so you can see 2 different timings going on. So to reinforce the follower's responsibility, remember that followers, you're going to project, okay, based on the twist of the chest, right? When you feel the contra body, you're going to project your foot out, and then you're going to push into that step, and then push into that step, and push into that step, and the timing then becomes and 1, like we practiced earlier. So again, it looks like this, and 1, and 2, and 3. Okay, so now we're getting a good drive. The follower is increasing the size of the step. We don't feel an increase of compression in the body or an absorption. Remember that we want to walk with our partner like we did earlier. Another thing that we want to talk about too is during the step, we're looking for the rolling of the foot from toe to heel. Nell, if you can talk about the foot collapsing.
So if we kind of step down early and land flat-footed, it's going to cut our steps short, and we're going to have a harder time controlling our weight transfers. If we start with the ball of the foot and then roll down onto our heel, we can control our weight through the entire weight transfer.
Okay, so in this section, it's called body shaping. We just want to remind followers of some really good tips in drag blues for following the shapes that are created. This is one of our favorite parts of drag blues, is that we can take all these different shapes and they might be funky, but we can relax into them. Still with good posture, still rotating the hips forward so we're not pinching the back. So for example, if I take a step back into a lunge, Nell here is sinking into it. Now, she's holding her own weight. If you notice, remember, we try not to increase compression. We try to remain really neutral in our steps. And so here, she's sinking into it, and she's relaxing, right? This has to take some practice. I can create some new shapes. Again, she's sinking into it. Now, leaders, our job is not to say, go into this shape, go into this shape. Remember, drag blues is an equal opportunity dance, so I put my body in a shape, and she comes in and places her body into a shape too. Okay? So some exercises you can do, for example, to practice this, because remember, we have some funny shapes going on. You can just take this leg and swing it, right? As the leg swings, she holds her leg. If I swing, She holds her leg, swing, and practicing relaxing into that right there. Relaxing into that right there. We used to teach it that the leader lifts the follower's legs like this. We will go lift and lift and lift. But what we discovered is that once we did some of our faster movements or some of our larger steps, we couldn't go as fast or as large. And so by giving the followers this responsibility in the dance of changing her shape, holding the shape and shaping the body, we can create some of these more nice and dynamic shapes in the dance. Again, practice with us, right? Practice getting into this shape here, getting into this shape here, right? Getting into some of these shapes here. It doesn't matter our shape, right? And then relaxing into it, right? Some funky shapes. It doesn't matter, but relaxing into those shapes. She's taking responsibility for her weight, right? Now there are some shapes where, I have to help her, of course, but then mostly she is helping herself into these shapes right there, okay? It doesn't matter, again, the shape, but the followers need to take that responsibility for shaping the body into the leaders. Okay, for this section of our video, we're going to talk a little bit about connection. Connection will be expanded in video 4. This is more of the connection of our basic walking and our basic embrace. Some things to keep in mind is that as we're moving around the floor, our frame might feel like it gets stuck or twisted, because we do a lot of different movements across the floor, right, as we go, and we might get into a funky posture, and we exit that posture, feel free to reconnect, okay? So whether that's the leader readjusting on the back, right, doing a turn, exiting, and needing to readjust, it's totally fine and encouraged, because you don't want to be stuck in a posture that might be uncomfortable for the follower. Something else to think about is there are times when we need to slide in and out. So for example, sliding out, our follower slides out too, sliding in. What we often see is one person, for example the follower, stays in one spot. So as the leader slides out, it becomes like this, and the leader can only go so far. And so together we slide out and we slide in. It might be a type of rotation, rotation out, rotation in, and then look at my hand, readjusting when necessary. Okay. Now this type of adjustments don't just happen in the arms and in the frame, they also happen in the hands and the arms. So anytime we need to engage the hands might close a little bit more. There are times where we need to open the hands. There are times where we're in between. And so this is an exercise you can practice, practicing changing the shape of the hands, also changing the shape of the arms, right? So if the leader lets go, the followers are in charge of their arms. Too often the followers hang on the leader and the leader has to go and he lets go, and the arms drop. So remember, in drag blues, followers, you're responsible for your posture, and that means the shape of your arms, right? If the leader goes up, you move your arms up, the leader goes down, the leader crisscrosses, right? He does any of these funky things, you're in charge of your arms and the shape of your arms.
The last assumption that the leaders can make is that the followers are going to be responsible for their own posture and their change in their posture, their own tone and adding that to their body if and when needed, their own tension, their energy, and the direction, somewhat the direction.
To wrap up this video, we discussed the characteristics of drag blues, especially the walk, a little bit of the connection, mostly the walk. And we want to remember that we should be performing some of these characteristics and assumptions as we dance this dance. Those include the timing, right? The and one timing, the posture, right? The contra body movement. Our favorite aspect of dancing is, of course, coordination, and we have to coordinate everything together. It takes some practice, and so start working on your extensions, start working on your contra body movement. Within the partnership, we might find issues of balance, and remember that I'm responsible as a leader for my body, my partner is responsible for her or his body, and we move together. It is a call and response type movement, right? Where the leader will create shapes across the floor, and then the partner will follow these shapes, will follow the energy. Remember the connection points that we talked about, which we'll also discuss in video 4. Connection is the posture. How important is the posture to this dance, especially when we start performing moves. We'll start talking about the tone in the body, right? More than just relax, right? The tone and how to use proper tone to accelerate and decelerate the dance. We'll talk about the tension between partners because as we've discussed in this video, we're mostly in a neutral posture, neutral tension, but we're going to talk about those moments of creating tension. In videos 3, 2, which is moves, and 4, connection, we'll talk more about that energy and the direction piece. And so go out and share your knowledge with your friends. Go and ask them to dance. Go and teach them drag blues. Bring this information to your scene. I would love to see it go out and spread across the world. We travel quite a bit, and I'm looking forward to dancing with more followers, drag blues. Remember, you can go to our website, jovenel.com, for those characteristics. It's that characteristic checklist. So you just check that you're working on these characteristics. And thank you for watching these videos. Look forward to video 3, moves, video 4, connection, and video 5, drag blues as a fusion dance.
Know that the night time, ooh, is the right time.